Yesterday we talked about the IT framework. It consists of the four dimensions of service management. We also look at the IT service value system. We look at the component of the four dimension of service management. That we have the four critical factors that are very necessary that will help an organization to be able to produce products and services that can facilitate value for their customers, the stakeholders, and any user of their product. The components are what? Organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers, value streams and processes. Other than all these elements in the four dimensional service management must work together collaboratively in a holistic manner to be able to produce products and services that can deliver value. No single element in this four dimension of service management, if it's in any organization, can stand alone. They need to work together. If you look at these diagrams, like if you look at the background of this blue color, you see there's an intersection line there. All of them as an intersection between all those elements. And we also talked that there are other factors that are external to the organization that can militate the effectiveness of this four dimensional service management to be able to produce products and services that can deliver value. And we mentioned that there are political factors, the economic factors, the social factors, technical factors, and the legal factors, and the environmental factor. So then we also will look at the service value system. There are also other elements, the activities and the practices that is existing in the organization that must plug to the seven guiding principle of IT through the governance of the organization, so that allow the organization to be able to maintain a control that can be able to create a their own strategy that can drive everything in organization to move forward to be able to achieve the strategic objective of that organization. And at the same time, the governance, the people at the top level, who are the what as governance, who create the strategy for the organization, create policies, vision, goals, which the all the elements in organizations must run with. That when it adopt this seven guiding principle, and that uh, governance can now manage everything that in the organization, it will also help the organization to improve. At the end of the day, we look at the demands and the opportunity. Demand from the customer for your products and services, and the opportunity for the organization to be improved. That is why you see, if you look at the diagram, the improvement, the continual improvement is at the background of the whole elements in organization, which suggests that everything in organization, the service value chain, the practices, and any other element that the organization either use to plan, designs, develop, or deploy, or deliver, or support the service management organization must be improved if that organization will ever to be able to deliver value. That's for that's the service value system. So we see that the service value system component are what? Seven guiding principle of IT, the governance, service value chain, then the practices and the continual improvement. So yeah, yesterday we talked about a holistic approach to value delivery. When you say holistic approach, it means that all the elements, all the components existing in a service organization must work together to be able to deliver value. So we call it holistic approach to value delivery. What are the components? We look at the processes, the value streams and processes. We look at the information and technology. We look at organization and people, partners and supplier. That's what you are seeing here. People often approach service delivery focus on one aspect, maybe one aspect of like process adoption, which we refer to as what value streams and processes, or tool implementation or technology. That's what we are seeing here. The information that is needed for service organization to be able to manage their service, and the technology they need to deploy also to manage their service. You look at the supplier identification, ability to identify the right supplier and work with the right supplier to provide what service components that can act as an input for service, maybe service design or planning or development or deployment or delivery of your service. We also look at other elements like organization and people. So these are the elements that are in your organization that can enhance, that can help your organization to produce products and services that can facilitate value. So throughout this course, we'll be talking about continual improvement and the facilitation of value. To who? To the end user of your service, the people that subscribe to your service, your customers, end user, the stakeholders, whether internal stakeholder or external stakeholder. That means to deliver a successful service. In other words, even for your organization to be able to deliver a successful service, attention must be paid to all four dimensions. So if you are sitting for this exam, this certification exam, you must understand that nothing, no element in organization must maybe behave in a silos manner. Silos mean that each element is standing alone, forgetting that all the elements combined together, they are supposed to work together to be able to help the organization to achieve strategic objectives. So if you want the department just stay alone and say, okay, it's not in it doesn't collaborate with that department. It's a matter of time. If the people at the top cannot check them, it's a matter of time to discover that something will happen to that organization, whether it go out of business, because that holistic approach to service delivery is lacking. They may be thriving, the organization may be thriving. After some time, you just see diminishing return comes into the whole process, and everybody will be asking themselves, what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened is that, that there's no holistic approach to value delivery. There's no collaboration, there's no interaction. We have not gotten that the mindset that we are working toward common goal, which is achieving a organizational goal, is missing. So that's what the ITIL is telling about the holistic approach to value delivery. For you to be able to deliver value, that holistic approach, that's all the elements of organization must work together. And the people at the top level of the organization, whether at the strategic level, the top level management, middle level management, and as well as the front level management, even the operation, must pay attention to this four dimensional service management. So let's look at the people aspect. Well, let's start with the organization. We're now revisiting the four dimension of service management. Now we are looking at it in details now. We just mentioned the organization, we define it. But then let's look at how IT want us to look at organization and what should be the role of organization when it comes to service management. So the service management approach must consider what? Organizational structure. Any organization that is in service must be well structured to be able to do what? Do the work of the service management. A well structured organization, you understand me? It can be able to manage service very well. Well structured, everything organization is structured. Your processes are well structured. The organization from the top to the operations well structured. The people, the workforce requirement well structured. The workforce are given assigned roles and responsibility. That's what I mean. We have professionals who know their onion, they know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and they also know how to run with the organization's strategic objective. We also look at the organization culture. Culture is a way and how the people in organization relate with one another, communicate with one another, think the way they think, the way they act, their lifestyle, and the understandings of business, and how to relate with the people outside the organization, and the rest, the assignment, and the including the communication style. So when a organization is well structured organization, then it's ready to be able to manage service successfully. Therefore, when service management is adopted, when you are resolved in your organization that okay, we are a service organization and we adopt service management, then organization must take the organizational structure. Your organization must be well structured socially, economically, politically, whether politics inside the organization outside. In any way, it must be well structured. It means that no single person in organization should be able to hold the organization to ransom because something organizational ransoming. We are one person in organization. We hold the whole entire organization in the ransom. Let me give you an example of that. Maybe your MD or who are the top position organization travel outside the country, and you discover that when you travel, everything stands still. Like example, maybe you need to procure the service component, and there's no person. It's the only one that is a signatory. Let me give you an example. A signatory to maybe to signing and making approval or the final approval that will allow the organization to be able to procure maybe service component to be able to act as an input to their service activity. And because that person travel now, maybe he's going to travel for about a month. Everybody need to wait. All the things we are going to do in the organization, we have to wait. That's just one example. There are many examples that like that show that organization is held at ransom because one person is just all in all. If it's not there, nothing will move. Such an organization is not well structured. So when service management is adopted, organization must take the organizational structure and the organizational culture and workforce requirement into account. You look at your workforce. Who are the people that are the workforce? Are they qualified? Are they being given the assignments and the roles and responsibilities are well defined for them? Are they professional who know exactly what to do, how to do, and when to do it? Are they assigned to the right one, roles and are given responsibility and the authority also to carry out the responsibility? Give it unto them. Want to look at your culture. Some organizations have a poor culture. For example, we can talk about what? Maybe the quality of their products is always very poor. That's that's not a good culture. They promise the customer, this is the thing we are going to supply you. We are going to offer you when you subscribe to our service. At the end of the day, they are not able to meet that in terms of culture. The level of I mean, in type of quality, they produce quality products. It's a culture. The culture of late coming, the culture of delivering very late, the culture of disappointing your customer. You understand me? The culture of what? Lack of integrity. And you see, sometimes you look at the value system. What our value? The same organization that will tell you that integrity is one of our value system. At the end of the day, even the people who are within the organization themselves, even at the top, that level of integrity is not there. They compromise a lot of things, and that thing has adverse effects on their service, and it's going to have a negative impact on their customer. So these are the culture of even the organization, maybe employee. They just stroll in the organization, stroll out. No control is in place. Everybody does whatever he or she like. That can be the description of a culture of some organization. But when organization is well structured, they look at, okay, our service, we want to deliver quality service. Our word, you can take our word for it. When we say we are going to deliver this thing 3 days or 4 days, we are going to make sure we deliver it. Quality service, excellent service, exceptional customer service, and integrity. That's what I mean. And quality service and many other things that are a good culture. So you can think of culture, how your organization behave, how do they relate with one another, how do they communicate, how do they relate with customer, how do they relate with one another. That's what I mean. How do they collaborate? Is it a organization whereby they compete within the organization? Everybody is competing with one another. Everybody is doing eye service to please to please the boss, so that the boss can promote or do. No, that kind of a culture will not enhance quality product. You know, enhance organization to move forward. So those culture must be taken away, replaced with a good culture that can help organization to move from where it is to where it's supposed to be. So that by doing so, the everything in organization can be improved and work together and to be able to produce products and services that can facilitate value for customer. Then we also look at the workforce requirement. People at the top level of the organization who must dictate and direct attitudes, because it's just like a role model. The people at the top, just like a role model. So the people at the top level of the organization, when I say top levels, we are talking about what? At the strategic level, top level management, the middle level management, and as well as the front level management must dictate and direct attitudes. Then motivation. There must be a system of motivation whereby you motivate every person in the organization, and they share value about the best practices. Some organization, maybe they don't follow the best practice. They cut corners. Whether they like it or not, whether small or big, it still cut corner. No, because if you cut corner, if my boss cut corner, it's not giving me it's motivating me also to cut corner. It's dictating what I can do if he or she is not there. For example, if my boss need to buy certain thing, maybe you need to go to buy something, maybe service component or whatever you want to buy for the office, very urgent, and the cost of that thing, it should be about 200,000. You now merry-go-round like that and trying to say, okay, get a receipt from the seller and say, hey seller, can you help me to put 200,000 there? That's not the best practice. That's not ethics. It's not that ethics is poor. Even your product too, best practice, that quality product, delivering on time, that level of all those things are best practice. When you relate with another organization, relate with the people inside the organization, everything must be clear, open, and everything must be done when you look at something that must be done properly. Leaders should demonstrate and model supportive behavior, like motivating the staff. You understand me? It's very important. It's not enough to say I pay you salary at the end of the month. There are some there are certain things also the organization can do for their employee to motivate them, to inspire them. Do you understand me? That kind of motivation will inspire the employee, and they will put more effort into what they are doing. And you can see that we reflect in the quality of the service that the organization will offer to the customer. So leaders should demonstrate a model supportive behavior and attitude to foster cooperations and collaboration. The people at the top level organization should not lose focus of uh, making all the elements in organization, especially human resources, to collaborate and to cooperate. That's what I mean. Communicate and make everything open to everybody, so that you can provide the right tools and right environment for the people to do the work that have been assigned to them, the roles and responsibility, and motivate them to be able to achieve the goal that have been set for them, whether the personal goal or the enterprise goals. We're talking about organization. We are painting a picture of an ideal organization, an organization that's not ideal. An organization culture of trust. That's a culture. the people who work in organization, they trust one another. Is there anything like transparency within the people that work within the organization? Because that culture of trust and transparency leads to what? Issue being raised and escalated and facilitate corrective actions being taken. When we talk about trust in another way is that when somebody make mistake, it does not mean that everybody will just condemn that person. Maybe somebody want to make because when somebody makes mistake, you criticize and criticize and criticize. You are limiting that person, the creativity level of that organization. Because when I know that if I'm trying to experiment on something that can help the organization to move forward, and I make mistake, and sometimes it may be costly, it may not be costly, and I'm condemned. Next time, I will not experiment. I know that people will not experiment, and because of that thing, I will not be able to make any effort again. And therefore, that organization, when it comes to level of creativity and innovation, you cannot find it there. So, culture of trust, transparency lead to issue being raised and escalated and facilitate corrective action. If somebody make mistake, there's a way that person can be put right. And there may be we can facilitate corrective action that can help that person to improve. And that is why IT is talking about continual improvement because we can always learn from our mistake. When you manage projects, because something historical information or lesson learned, I can learn from what I've done in the past, whether bad or good, so that it can help me to improve on what I want to do in future. The same thing should also be brought into organizations that are into service management. So that's a organization. When an organization is well structured, the workforce requirement is fantastic. The roles and responsibility of the employee are well defined. They have a good culture, culture of integrity, culture of delivering on time, culture of delivering quality, culture of trust, culture of transparency. It helps the organization to be able to manage projects, manage service, plan service, deploy service in a most efficient and effective way that can help the organization also to deliver value for their customer or facilitate values for their customer. We talked yesterday that what customers are looking for when it comes to service is value delivery, customer satisfaction, innovative product, creative product, wow products. I call it wow. This is fantastic. I love this product. Because I love this product, I will keep on coming back and coming back and coming back again and patronizing this organization. I will not even stop there. I can also tell other people about the organization that their service is fantastic, excellent. Therefore, that particular customer has become a advertising, uses his mouth to advertise the organization that they have exceptional customer service. They have innovative product, and I can see the way they are doing is like they keep on adapting and continuously improve in their service. And they have the strategic plannings and execution and knowledge. They have customer engagement and support. All these things are what customers are looking for. But when organization is not well defined, all those elements will be missing, and indirectly or directly, it's going to affect their service. It's going to affect the way they plan their service. It's going to affect the way the organization design a service. It's going to affect the way the organization develop a service. It's going to affect the way organization deploy service or deliver service or support service. So IT is talking about what? All the processes and all the four dimensions of service management, including organization and the people, must be improved to be able to facilitate value to customers. So let's look at the people aspect of the four dimensions of service management. People are the key in all service relationship. In fact, when you look at the organization, the critical element, the critical resources that organization should focus on is the people in the organization. If you look at non-human resources like technology alone cannot work by himself. People in the organization are the people who utilize technology to do the work assigned to them. They use the technology or machine to be able to apply it to their service design, development, or deployment. So, good attention must be given to people in an organization, like motivation. Make sure that cooperations and collaboration exist among the staff. How do you take care of the staff? They are human beings, they have feeling, they are psychological human beings. So you have to put them into consideration. What affects them socially, economically, politically? The organization should be able to uh, take care of such things. The people in the organization must be given priority when it comes to uh, managing service, when it comes to anything that affects their lives. You understand me? Even including the place you work, how convenient, the safety of the environment, and many other things that can affect life. So it is the people that are working in the organization eh, that will make use of the non-human resources, and those non and the human resources must be taken care of to be able to manage the non-human resources efficiently and effectively for the service of the organization, so that the organization can be able to facilitate value for their customer. So people are the key in all service relationship. The common objective is enabling value creation for all. You can see now people are very important organization. You cannot compare human being with machines or even the latest costly technology. Machine itself cannot do the work. It still require the people to operate the machine or to deploy the machine or technology for the services. So when you are talking about considering the dimension of people in the four dimension of service management, you begin to look at factors that influence service management approach, like skills and the competencies of the people working in service organization. The right skills, right competencies, assigning people with right skill, with the right work, that's what I mean, creating an enabling environment for them, and looking at the competence. Are they competent? Are they competent to be able to manage their service? Then you look at the management and leadership style. You know, we have different kind of management and leadership style. We have democratic leadership style. We have maybe do that one, authoritative leadership style, or the one that a kind of leader that want to impose his own will on the people. He does not give the people to think by themselves. He want to micromanage them. He want to everything he says should be final. He does not allow he or she does not allow the people in the organization to be able to explore new things, to think outside the box, to be able to be more creative and innovative. So when you macromanage the people in organization, it will limit their capacity and ability to be able to contribute their own part to the service management. So when it is democratic, like maybe organization adopt the agile or scrum methodology when it comes to planning and the managing their service, it allows the team who are uh, be able to work together, trust them, give them all the resources to work, create an enabling environment for them. All you need to do is just to facilitate them, allow them to use their skills and the competence they have to be able to contribute to service management. So we talk about management and leadership. Allow the people who are working with you, they are the people who are going to do the work of the service. Give them opportunity to do that. Allow them to think by themselves. Allow them to work together Allow them to cooperate and collaborate, to think outside the box and provide solution, the service activities, so that the organization can be able to deliver value. Then level of communication and collaboration. Communication is key and essential when it comes to service management, because communication simply means that you make everything open to everybody. If you assign work to me, you should give me the information that I will need to be able to carry out the assignment. And where I'm working as a team, there must be collaboration. If our collaboration go with communication, people cannot collaborate effectively in an organization when there's no the clear form of communication. Communicating information to your team will enable them to be more efficient and effective in all the assignments you have given to them, and you also give them the powers and the authority to make use of the organizational resources and use it for the service uh, management and activity. Then for a good organization, they should have the people who have broad knowledge and specialized expertise. We call it T-shape. We normally call it T-shape. Broad knowledge and the specialized expertise. There must be among your people who are working in organization, somebody is good, very good at doing a particular thing. That is the area of specialization. But that person also knows a little thing, a little bit of what other people also know. For example, in a case that somebody, maybe God forbid, somebody had an accident or injury, or maybe is sick, he cannot come to office. We cannot say because somebody is sick in our organization, then we begin to tell story to customer that there are three people in our team that are sick, and that because of that one is causing delay in our service. Customer doesn't want to hear that. That is why you need to have somebody who have a specialized knowledge about your service, who also have a little knowledge about what other people also know. Even though if all those people are not available, you can still do their work. T-shaped knowledge, T-shaped knowledge, broad knowledge and specialized expertise. That is what an organization should think when they are employing or when they are bringing in people and onboarding people in the organization. So each individual understanding of the contribution to value creation. That's the one I even love most. When I assign work to you, I am able to identify your skill, your level of your competencies, and I've given you all the right tools to work, and I've also provide enabling environment for you to work, and all the tools that will assist you to do the work, and are giving you information that will assist you to do the work of the service. Then you still need to make them to understand that each individual in the organization or employee or a person in the organization must understand their contribution to value creation. Nothing, no matter what has been assigned to you to do as a work, you must do it looking it from the glass of value. That in my own little corner, the assignment that have been assigned to me, why I'm doing it, I want to focus on it, do it well, do it in a standardized way, do it with all the skill I have to make sure that it will contribute to what? To value creation from organization. So that's the people dimension. That's the most important thing there. Each individual understanding of their contribution to value creation. So in other words, if work has been assigned to you with responsibility and power and authority to take, you must make sure that you do it according to specification, so that at the end of the day, whatever you have done will contribute value to the entire enterprise. I normally tell people, organization where people are only concerned about, oh, they are counting the numbers of day. Maybe today is 24, 25, 26. What they are always thinking about, when will they pay our salary? that person cannot focus. That's what I mean. Or we normally close by 4 p.m. every day. By 4:15, by 3:15, everybody will start packing their bag. They begin to going home. Such a case, you see, they can't focus very well. Their mind is not what they are doing. They cannot sacrifice for the organization. Therefore, the ability to be able to contribute value for the organization is be very low. So I'm just giving you that is typical example. There are older example like that one that show that an employee of organization, especially a service organization, may not be contributing value by the attitudes, a little bit of attitude that we can see around. Then, when you are talking about the people dimension of service management, you say break down organizational silos. Nobody must work and say, okay, I have team I'm working with, but I don't think I want to work with this team. I want to do it in my own team, in my own way, outside the realm of the organizational maybe practices. Or maybe you are in a team. Somebody will not cooperate with the team. You want to do it in the way he or she want to do it. You want to do it in the way that you think that it should be done. You don't want to do it in the way that the organization wants it to be done. So there's no cooperation. They are not working together. They are not in the same page. So such thing we call a organizational silo. What organization should do should break down that organizational silo to make sure that everybody work in a holistic manner, collaborate together, interact with one another, and think on what they can do together to improve the service and the service components and the planning of their service, design of the service, development of the service, delivery of service, and how best they can support the service and also improve the service. Where there's an organizational silo, there can never be any improvement in the organization. And whatever you have done will not have the touch or mark of value. And that can have negative impact on the organization strategic objectives and ability to be able to achieve the organizational goal. So we have looked at the aspect of organization and people in the four dimension of service management. Let's look at the information and technology aspect of the four dimension of service management. We say these are the critical elements that organizations should pay attention to, especially a service organization, because it will help the organization to be able to deliver good services that can facilitate value. So under this, we see information and technology. So it applies to what? Service management and to the service being managed. The service management and the service you are managing your organization as a service organization. We talk about what? Information and knowledge needed to do what? To carry your service, to manage your service. We said yesterday that organization need information to manage our service. Organization need information to manage service being managed and the service management. We said that data from your customer, data from the stakeholder, data outside the organization that are useful, that can be processed, that can become information that your organization can use to do what? To make informed business decision. It can come from the Federal Office of Federal Bureau of Statistics of the Federal Office of Statistics. They publish a lot of data about customer taste, the behavior of customer, price index, that's some indices, the social trend, the customer maybe taste changing. These are data that your organization can get from a body like a maybe Federal Office of Statistics or Federal Bureau of Statistics, even from ICANN or any other insurance organization that is maybe that coordinate insurance in Nigeria. They can get data from such, and that data must be complete, must be accurate, and it must be processed using technology so that it can become information, and so that that information can be used to what? To act as an insight and the information that the organization can use to make a informed business decision. You don't just use any data or information. The information must be accurate, it must be complete. Then it can be safe to get insight about what is happening in our industry, the trend, the customer, the trends, there are the activities, things we should do, things we cannot do. What are the new development? What are the new things? Do you understand? Something that are trending, new technology. Do you understand me? Customer behavior. How do we target our customer group? All these things are information. You can get it also from your customer as a feedback that can help you to improve your services. Information and technology. When we're talking about technology, we'll be talking about some resources like what? Workflow management system, knowledge bases. These are the examples of technology that your organization can deploy for our service so that their service can be able to deliver or value to customer. Inventory system. How do you take care of your inventory? What about your knowledge bases, databases, workflow management system? What can help you to be more efficient in your workflow? What are the communication systems in your organization? These are the aspects of technology. What are the analytical tools? Do you understand me? To analyze data, to convert data into information. Do you understand me? To get insight for how things are done in your industry, in your organization. Then these are the technology that you can deploy for your service, and the practice inputs and outputs. Everything comes to your organization through inputs. We look at demands and opportunity. Demand from customers and the opportunity to improve the customer and everything inside your organization. We also need to look at artificial intelligence. Every person should have a little bit of AI. You may not be a coder, but at least you are aware of what role the artificial intelligence will play your service management. Machine learning and other cognitive computing solution, mobile platform or cloud solution. Bring your resources to the cloud, remote collaboration tools, automated texting, especially the people who are in the service organization. How do you text? How do you text when you plan your service? When you design your service, when you develop your service, you text it. You can do it using technology to automated texting. How do you deploy it? We talk about the DevOps, development teams, and how do they integrate and do a deployment of your service with the operations. Deployment solution. These are an aspect of technology that can be very useful to every service organization to be able to deliver effective service, efficient service that can deliver value to their respective customer or their end user of their solution or their stakeholders. So when you're talking about the particular IT service, information created and managed. So when information has been created and it help you to manage your service and help you to manage everything that has to do, even the contents of the four dimensional service management. Technology platform like applications, databases, communications, and how to integrate your service so that it can run seamlessly so that the organization can be more efficient and effective in their service management. And that effect, the reverberating effect of that, using employing the technology for your service will have positive impact on the end user of your solution, your customer or your stakeholder. That's the information and technology aspect of the four dimension of service management. But as good as information and technology are, is when you are making use of information and technology, what are the things you must put into consideration? Very important. We have been talking about data, collecting data from your customer, from any other bodies that can assist your organization, or feedback from customer or any other thing. We said that the information and the data must be complete and must be accurate and must be detailed, must be useful, must be relevant to your organization's strategic objective. So when you are talking about information, what are the things you must put into consideration as a service organization? Number one, you ask yourself, what information is managed by the services? If you look at that question, as you are able to provide solution to that question, the organization should be able to document the response to that question. What information is managed by my service I'm providing to our end user? Then document it. What supporting information and knowledge is needed to help my organization to deliver and manage services? Whatever the responses, it might be 1,000 responses, document it because you are going to make use of them. How will the information and knowledge assets, everything about knowledge that comes into organization is an asset because you make decision and you must make a right decision to be able to come to right conclusion and have insight that can make the organization to act in a manner that they can move forward and be able to provide good service. So, information and knowledge asset must be protected. The information you use to carry out your service must be protected. Other people are watching you. Your competitors are watching you. Even external factors are also watching your organization. If you don't protect the information and knowledge assets of organization, you are open yourself to attack from your other people outside organization, other third parties and other people that doesn't want your organization to move, other people party that you are competing with, whom you are in the same maybe industry. So the information and knowledge you need to manage and carry out your services must be protected, must be well managed, must be archived, and whenever you don't need them again, make sure that you dispose them of properly. So as good as information, all these things must be put into consideration. So when we look at the technology question, you can see technology question, information and technology. The fact that the technology is very good for you to deploy or to manage your service. You see, there are certain things also you need to put into consideration when you try to deploy technology for your service. So there are some questions you need to ask yourself. There are some questions an organization you need to ask uh, ourselves about acquiring technology or deploying technology for your service. These are the questions that might be able to ask yourself, and you should be able to give a honest answer to them. But they are very critical to help your organization to facilitate value, to manage our service very well and in most efficient manner. What are the questions? Say, is the technology compatible with the current architecture? Every organization has business architecture, structure, the way the organization is built and structured, and how do they interrelate, or how all the elements in the organization relate all the components and the practices. So if you are acquiring technology, you ask yourself, is this technology compatible with our current architecture? If it is not, don't acquire it. It will be useless. It's like investing in something that will not help your organization to achieve our strategic objective. Are there regulatory or other compliance issue in that technology we want to acquire? And how do we go about it and make sure you comply? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. If you are going to acquire this technology, how do the regulations and compliance affect it? How do we make sure that you don't work against regulation? How do we comply to the regulation in respect to this technology? Is the technology viable in the foreseeable future? If you acquire this technology for our service today, how soon will this technology go out of the vogue? How does it go out of the market? So look at it. Is it going to be very useful for us even in the foreseeable future? If you see, everything here is about question. Does the technology align with the strategy of the service provider or a service consumer? Every service organization, every enterprise must have strategy. So you need to study your strategy very well, your policy, your vision, your goal, the objectives of the organization. Why are we in this business? Why are we doing what we are doing? It's only when you understand that one, you can now be able to pick a kind of technology that can align well with your strategy. Because if you select a technology that will not align with your strategy, it's useless. You cannot achieve your goal. So you ask yourself, does the technology align with the strategy of the service provider? Or even if you are not even looking inside, does this technology I want to acquire now to drive my services, is it also aligned with the what? The customers, the service consumer. You know, I said before, any organization that subscribe or a person that subscribes your service, they have something they want to use your service to achieve. They also have their own strategy too. Maybe they have their own customer. So if you acquire technology that will not align with their own strategy or the customer, it's a waste. Another question is what? Do the right skills across staff and supplier exist to support and maintain the technology? Very important. You have the people who can help us to support it, to manage it. Have they been given enough training? Are they capable of managing that technology or tools or technology? Because if you acquire technology for your service, to drive your service, and it's a sophisticated one, people don't know how to operate it or to relate with it, as much as wasting money because it cannot really support you well in your service. So do the right skills across the staff and supplier. Your supplier are what? Are the provider of your service component. Will they be able to support it when they supply to you? And maintain that technology. Very, very important. Otherwise, you don't have that need to acquire that technology. So you acquire technology whereby you train the user of that technology, and there may be manual and other documentation that you assist them to be able to what? Operate that technology. Or the supplier who supply you the product, do they have that structure that will enable them to be able to support the service component and maintain that technology for you? Otherwise, you don't acquire it. Is there sufficient automation capability? Most of the time we talk about automation, technology, automation. There are some automation, there are some technology. If you are not very careful, if you acquire them, especially the one that is not in alignment with your strategic objective, some of them they don't have the sufficient automation capability. So you ask yourself, is there sufficient automation capability to ensure it can be efficiently developed and deployed and operated when you are talking about your service management? And there are additional capability that might be leveraged for other products and services. So can you see additional capability that can help you to use, the technology can help you to use to improve your products, to improve your services, to improve the people in the organization, to improve the other element and the practices in the organization. Do such technologies have that additional capability to do that? Then the one that is more I want to emphasize is this one. Are there new risk and constraint to the organization when you want to acquire that technology? We call something vendor lock-in. Vendor lock-in. You need to be very careful when you are acquiring your technology to support your service. So I want to know whether you are following me. Is there anybody among us who understand the meaning of vendor lock-in? Vendor lock-in. I'm going to call somebody that have not just joined us today, Mr. Erin Folami. We are talking about technology question. How can organization who into service management can deploy technology for their service so that they can effectively and efficiently produce products and services that can deliver value or that can facilitate value to their customer. They say when you are now adopting a technology for your service, you say we call something vendor locking. Can you help us, for your own understanding, what's a vendor locking?
Okay, so good morning, sir.
Good morning.
From what I understand, I think from the English itself says vendor locking. I think it refers to where um, a company is going to find it difficult to switch between vendors. They are already stuck with using a particular set of vendors, and then they don't give room for um, opportunities or to get
Yes.
other quotes or from other vendors.
Yeah. Fantastic. That exactly. You lock in with a vendor, and then maybe because of the culture of the organization or politics or something like that, somebody introduced such vendor, and there are certain things gaining from that, and even the vendor they are not doing right, when you are still managing there, it's going to have adverse effect on your services when it comes to production and services. But even beyond that, for example, you acquire technology from an organization, you have not done your what do you call it, background checking about the strengths of that organization when it comes to technology, and you discover that because you didn't do your background checking about the organization, whether they are standing very well or they are strong. Do you understand me? And it happened that that organization now liquidated. You know what they call liquidation? If the organization supply your technology, because of the laxity in the organization, we didn't do a background checking whether that organization is standing very well and can still continue to be in business for a longer period or maybe many years, and that organization get liquidated. You remember that when organization is liquidated and their case is in the court, and you already purchased technology from them, they cannot support you again, because when you say liquidation, it's a business entity. It's different from the people who are in the organization. When it has been liquidated by the court, there's nothing you can do about them again. So they are no longer in business. That means you cannot get the right support for that technology, spare parts, after sales service, and all kind of support that we need for that technology will not be available again. Let's, for example, you got the technology of machine for about 3 billion, and you discover later on that the supplier is no longer in business. It has been liquidated. What do you do? So you should know in your mind that that thing is wasted. No spare parts, no after sales service, nobody to support you again. So when the technology is down, that will be the end, because you are locked into a particular vendor and you have been transacting business with them, and because of that one, they are out of business. So no support again from them. I cannot even charge them to court again. liquidation. So that's why organization, before you have a vendor, you do underground by background checking the capability of that organization. Have they supplied to other organizations like that? What's their standing when it comes to business or technology business as a vendor? Do you understand me? What are their capacity, human capacity? Another thing that can use to judge metric to determine whether this organization is standing, even in the foreseeable future, they will still be standing. Otherwise, before you sign agreement with them or contract, you should know their capability, financial capability, technical capability, the resources that are going to support the service, the technology, and many other factors before you sign agreement or contract with them. So that you don't have that constraint after you must have acquired technology for your service. How I say, are there new risk or constraint to the organization? Those are the technology questions. So let us just pause a little bit. Just give me, let us, for 5 minutes. I need to, it's like I have like a kind of catarrh. I want to go and blow up my nose. So I'm sorry for that. Because the way I'm pronouncing something, I'm not finding it very comfortable, and it's going to
Oh,
affect
sorry, sir.
delivery. Yes, so let me adjust myself. Within 5 minutes, I come
All
back.
right, sir.
Thank you very much for
Sorry,
your,
sir.
thank you very much for your understanding.